I was, I'll say, a lost soul. The only reason I picked marketing was they make you declare, and that's literally, I was like, well, that can give me a lot of options, is why I picked marketing. So I graduated in '03, and after that, I didn't really use my degree right away. I was doing more contracting work. One day I was at home, and there was a TV contest to be president of the Cardinals for a day, and so I submitted a VHS tape to Fox Sports Midwest, and they picked me. Wow. So as a lifelong diehard Cardinals fan, I was just like beyond excited. And so I went and did this contest. There's a picture of me like dragging the field next to Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds, and Edgar Renteria. I went up to the old manual scoreboard and was like changing out the numbers. My favorite thing I did, and this is probably a preview to this conversation, at one point they're like, well, you're gonna MC this kids event, it's called Ice Cream Sunday, here's the microphone, go. And I loved it. As I had never done anything with media. I love the whole contest. Like, some people are afraid of public speaking. I love it. Some people don't like the cameras. I love them. They don't always love me, but I love them. And I loved that contest. It was such a great experience. And as someone who always loved baseball, always, a love of baseball, I never thought about working in it. And in hindsight, it almost annoys me that I could love something that much and not think about that. So in the middle of this contest, I actually had some job interviews lined up, and I canceled all of them and said, I think I know what I want to do. I want to work for the Cardinals, and I don't want to waste your time. Which was actually, that by itself was a great experience, because I think people were shocked of doing that. And it taught me about being more direct with people, let them know where you stand. Because honestly, if I hadn't worked for the Cardinals, I think every one of them would have been more excited to interview me. But anyway, so I do this contest. At the very end, I meet the president of the team. He walks me around the stadium, takes my entire family onto the field, get a photo with my grandpa, who was 85 years old, on the field at Busch Stadium. And what was great about that is that so much of what I do is about family and the love that we've always had of the Cardinals, what it's meant for my family to be there. And my grandpa framed this 8x10 of us on the field and walked around with it, pretty much from that day until he passed away. He loved that picture. And that was just kind of that moment where this is what I want to do. As I'm walking off the field, when I met the president, I'll back up a little bit, they're filming it. This is 2004, so think of 2004, Hammons Field was built, the Bears were playing there, but the rumors were it was for the Cardinals, but there was no announcement. So I meet the president of the team, and he says, do you have any questions for me? I go, yes. Are you going to move a minor league team to Springfield, Missouri? And he just kind of laughs, it's a really bold question. I'm like, it is, but are you going to move a team there or not? And in hindsight, what a jerk question. Because this is you think about it, this is millions of dollars at stake. That means if they're moving the team, they're taking it from some other community. And so I was just a baseball fan that wanted to know. But again, it was a big life lesson, is that I wasn't afraid to talk to him, and it made this impression on him, wow, this quasi-ignorant kid is at least bold enough and has great eye contact. So wouldn't answer on camera, but as he walked me around the stadium at the very end, he says, by the way, we're going to hire some people in Springfield, send me your resume. And that was the point I went crazy, not about the job, but about Cardinals baseball being in Springfield. And I went to high school here in town, Springfield Catholic, and I just think about if I had been in high school, what an amazing place to spend my summers.
You mentioned the pictures on the field with your grandfather and stuff. You guys are still making those types of memories at Springfield Cardinals.
We're trying to do a better job. I think that's kind of right when I took over as general manager. I pulled in what I kind of refer to as our leadership team, and really just wanted to share my vision. And I don't think you don't know where you can go if everyone doesn't know how to get there. And I think that was a part of this conversation of, guys, this is what I'm about, this is what we need to do. And we made it a point that fans need to have a better experience, and to treat people anymore like you buy a ticket is boring, and it's not going to work. And that's not the way the consumers buy anymore. You buy because you get value, you buy because of an experience, and they need to believe in what you're doing. So we immediately wanted to take the field from being this sacred place for players and saying this is for the community. So we started programs where we do an on-field happy hour once a month. That's awesome. Once a month, fans could go on the field and watch fireworks. We started doing programs like on Father's Day to play catch with Dad, Mother's Day, play catch with Mom. And we really have tried to make it a point to make that is Springfield's field. It's not just for the players.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that. And we also have kind of realized too, you can't just do things in your building, you need to go outside of it. We hadn't been involved with the Springfield Christmas Parade for 13 years, and 2 years ago we signed back up. This year we threw out 1,600 hats at the parade. And our mascots going out of the doors more, our staff is volunteering more, because I think that's a part of being a good community partner. It's not fair to ask people to come to us, and some people, they can't. You know, we are still an expense that not everyone can afford. Then we're also trying to address that. We launched our cheapest program we've ever done, where it's 4 seats, 4 hats, 4 Cokes, 4 hot dogs for $44. And so once a month we offer that program, because it would make me very sad that to be something that people can't afford. You know, I think a lot of us in this room sometimes don't take for granted how fortunate we are to decide we want to go to a baseball game and just go. That's not for everyone. And so I think we want to make it a point to be great community members, but you have to be intentional when you do it.
Absolutely. What is the economic impact of Springfield Cardinals, you think?
I actually think it's more about quality of place, in my opinion. I think that I love the fact that our leadership in this community is talking about quality of place, because that's how people pick where to live now. You know, I think it used to be the stereotype was, you know, you got a job, you stuck with a job, you're loyal to a job, and that's not how young people pick anymore. They want a community that's thriving, and you have to have assets that provides fun. They need to believe in what's going on. And to me, I think what we do there at the stadium is more about quality of place. Is there an economic impact? Absolutely. You know, it goes back to, I went to high school here. I graduated high school in 1999. In 1999, you did not go into downtown Springfield. You did not do it. And what you saw was this shift where between us and the ice park, people started going back town. Well, that also coincided with nightlife reemerging. After the nightlife reemerging, you started having restaurants, you started having boutiques, you started having offices, and all of this, again, that started it, and then all of a sudden you move into massive developments. You move into lofts. You move into this like thriving area. And I think the daylighting of Jordan Creek is going to be the next step that's just making this an amazing place. So do we? Yeah, we employ, between us and concessions, about 30 full-time employees. You start thinking about 360,000 people coming, 375,000 a year to Cardinals or Bears games. Those people are eating, drinking, parking, which is way too much to park. But you're doing all those things, and what's the tax benefit for the community? It's a lot. You're having tourists that are coming in from out of town that are going to these restaurants, they're gassing up, they're buying Cardinals gear. You know, it's an amazing economic impact. But personally, economic impact is important, but quality of place might be more important for the future, because you need a lot of those quality of place issues to make sure that the economic impact matters.
That's good. That makes sense.
Can you talk about your decision last year when the owners of the parking lot raised the tickets? You briefly mentioned it, and how as an executive you took it upon yourself to create a solution, and you know, obviously that whole scenario is...
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, we were discussing social media. Is that anymore, people think that they are entitled to every piece of information, everything. And that's where we're at as a society. And a part of being entitled to that means there's got to be accountability, and you've got to let people see what's going on. And the discussion was that we could either hide it, act like it's not an issue where it was an issue. And if we did that, then the backlash was going to be the Cardinals did this. People were going to make their own assumptions about how it happened. People thought, you know, and I'll frame it this way, for 14 years, our number one complaint would be food pricing, because people still feel like they should pay the same they do at a grocery store, which is not feasible when people are preparing it themselves. But number two is parking. Last year, parking wasn't a complaint. But the reason, I'm saying it was an issue, but it wasn't a complaint, because people finally knew we didn't own it. For the first time, people knew we didn't own it because we controlled the message. And I think it was an amazing learning experience for me to go through, to see that by being more transparent, people were sympathetic, they were understanding, and they appreciated that we were open about it. And I think, to me, that's, I think it's hard. I think it's very hard to get into that, but I also think you've got to understand where we're at as a society. And people expect to know the answers, they expect to have all the information, and if you don't provide it, they're going to make up their own story. Something I had an uncle that talked to me about, he always talked about, you make time for what's important, and there's always room at the top. And I thought that was some great advice, is that, you know, even if there's a saturated market, try to be the best, because there's always room for the top. You know, and I think that's a mentality that I've kind of tried to strive for, is that I don't like being in the middle. I mean, I don't like being, like I told you, I was angry. I was not one of the first 5 hires. But I think that strive for the top, you know, there's always room at the top was great advice, and so was make time for what's important. Every promotion I've gotten, I've got better at time management, you know, and I'm proud of that. And, you know, but you have to find ways. I won't take my laptop home. I would rather drive to the office on a weekend and do something than bring it home, because I don't want to get in the habit of bringing it home. When I play with my kids, I don't have my cell phone around. Also, last year, I'm going to piggyback from last year, we eliminated season tickets to move to memberships. And I think it ties in a lot of what we talked about, is really changing with the times, to understanding where we're at. But when we eliminated the season tickets, we listened to every reason why people didn't buy season tickets and every reason they dropped season tickets. And we addressed every one of them. We went from a minimum of 18 games down to 10, which is 2 games a month. We went from an exchange policy that had a lot of regulations to an exchange policy that says if you miss a game, bring your ticket back to any game you want. We didn't have an ability to change online, and now you can't post-exchange, and we're trying to figure that out. That's not our fault, that's a ticket company. But now you can go online before your game and trade it out online, so you don't have to walk to the stadium to be able to do it. And then the last one that's kind of the neat part, and the premise for this one is, if you think of a gym, if you're a member of a gym, do they limit how many times you can go? No. So every member has a card with their name on it to walk into any other game outside of their plan for free. So you can pay $95, have seats to 10 games that allows you to pick whatever game you want, but then on top of it, you get a card where you could walk in any other game you want. So if you want to show up on Friday nights at the end of the night and watch fireworks, no extra cost. You want to show up on Thursdays right when work gets out and have a couple $1 brats before you go home? Well, you got to pay for the brats, but there's no cost to get that stadium. So we really tried to address every single issue. And right now what we're focusing on is to maximize your controllables. So let's not complain about what we can't, let's maximize what we can do. And I think that's the part that the focus you've seen in the last 3 years, we're trying to live that every day, is maximize your controllables. I like to ask just, what do fans want? And I think most businesses get caught up in what they want to do instead of what others want. And my wife went to the Ford SGF. I encouraged her to go. She sat at a table, and there was a guy that was there on the board with me, and he's telling my wife, he's like, you know, I'll just tell you, your husband has so many great ideas. It's like, but the part that really shocks me is that every idea, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Like, all those ideas are just so simple, but we move past it. So we've been joking around referring to me as Simple Dan. But I think sometimes that's a part of it, is it's okay to be simple, because just ask, what do fans want? And I think all of us might be better at our jobs to really stop and do that.